Atlanta has seen its fair share of drama, but no one was ready for what dropped last night. A leaked audio recording allegedly from someone deep inside the Love and Hip Hop production crew has set social media on fire. The clip, which is already being shared across fan pages and gossip blogs, seems to capture none other than Rasheeda Frost unleashing a raw, emotional rant aimed straight at Mona Scott-Young, the powerhouse producer who built the entire Love and Hip Hop empire. In the recording, Rasheeda's voice trembles with anger and hurt as she calls Mona a backstabber, accusing her of manipulating, pitting cast members against each other, and using private pain for ratings. It's the kind of behind-the-scenes truth fans have only guessed at until now. The audio begins quietly, almost like a conversation not meant for the public. You can hear Rasheeda sighing heavily before her tone hardens. Mona knew what she was doing, she says, her words sharp, deliberate. She wanted us to fight, to break down, to lose everything for the cameras. That woman smiled in my face and stabbed me right in the back. A chair creaks. Someone in the background, possibly Kirk, tries to calm her down, but Rasheeda's voice rises, steady and furious. She didn't care about my marriage. She didn't care about my family. She cared about her show, her ratings, and her check. Within minutes of the leak, the clip spread like wildfire. Fans flooded comment sections with disbelief and shock, tagging both Rasheeda and Mona. Some called Rasheeda brave for finally speaking out, while others accused her of biting the hand that made her famous. The Love and Hip Hop fandom was thrown into chaos, with old cast members quietly liking cryptic posts and others deleting their photos with Mona entirely. Even production assistants, stylists, and security crews started dropping hints online, posting vague emojis and subtweets that only added more fuel to the fire. Sources close to the show claim this isn't an isolated outburst. They say tension between Rasheeda and Mona had been boiling behind the scenes for years, especially after a few episodes aired that painted Rasheeda in a less than flattering light. Allegedly, Rasheeda felt tricked into filming certain confessionals and accused producers of editing her footage to make her look cold and detached during her marital struggles. In one now-deleted tweet from a verified Love and Hip Hop insider, the message read, "That audio, just the tip of the iceberg. You don't even know half of what went down that season." Now, the big question everyone's asking is who leaked it, and why now? Was it a disgruntled crew member seeking revenge, a castmate stirring the pot for attention, or someone close to Rasheeda trying to expose what really goes on behind the cameras? Whatever the case, one thing is clear. The perfect image of Love and Hip Hop's family is cracking fast. And if Rasheeda's words are true, this isn't just a food, it's a full-blown betrayal that could shake the entire franchise. The night the audio leaked, Atlanta didn't sleep. The city's gossip blogs, podcast hosts, and fan pages were lit up with theories, voice comparisons, and hashtags that wouldn't stop trending. Everyone wanted to know if it was really Rasheeda Frost behind that trembling but fiery voice. Some said it was AI, others said the emotion in her tone was too raw to be fake. And then, just hours later, someone close to production confirmed it was her. That one confirmation sent the entire Love and Hip Hop fanbase into chaos. Rasheeda had been quiet for years, playing the classy, composed entrepreneur while drama swirled around her, but this leak painted a different picture. In the recording, she sounded tired, fed up, betrayed. It wasn't just a celebrity venting. It was a woman finally snapping after years of feeling used. "She made me look like a fool," Rasheeda said in the clip, her voice shaking with rage. "I kept my mouth shut to protect the brand, to protect my image, but Mona knew what she was doing. She wanted to break me." Those words alone made fans freeze. If Rasheeda, one of the most loyal cast members, had reached this point, something serious had gone down. By morning, the Frost household had turned into a media war. Kirk was pacing by the kitchen counter, scrolling through his phone as his name trended right beside hers. "Baby, you need to say something," he said, his tone a mix of worry and anger. "The blogs are twisting everything." Rasheeda, sitting on the edge of the couch, stared blankly at the TV. "Say what, Kirk?" she whispered. "If I speak, I'm the villain. If I stay silent, they'll say I'm guilty." Kirk ran his hands through his hair. "You already called her a bat. It's out there. We can't pretend this didn't happen." Outside their home, paparazzi had already gathered. Cameras flashed as delivery drivers and curious neighbors tried to sneak peeks through the gates. TMZ posted a headline within minutes: "Rasheeda Frost turns on Mona Scott-Young, Love and Hip Hop chaos." The caption underneath read, "Fans shocked as leaked audio exposes years of alleged behind-the-scenes betrayal." Fans were dissecting every line of the recording, arguing about its meaning. One user tweeted, "Rasheeda'd been loyal since day one. If she's calling Mona a snake, there's truth to it. Another replied, nah, she mad 'cause the show moved on without her. Classic deflection. By noon, Mona Scott herself finally broke her silence. She posted a cryptic Instagram story with a simple message: truth always finds the light. No tags, no hashtags, just those 5 words and a black background. Within minutes, her comments exploded. So you admitting it? We know what you did to her. Girl, stop playing innocent. But others defended her, reminding everyone that Mona had given these women a platform, a voice, and paychecks. Still, the tension was thick. Production sources whispered that the audio came from an old meeting between Rasheeda and a few producers during the filming of the season finale last year. Apparently, the argument had gotten heated after Rasheeda refused to film a confessional scene about Kirk's alleged business trip that tabloids claimed involved another woman. Producers wanted her reaction on camera and emotional, but Rasheeda refused. She felt blindsided and manipulated. The next day, her scene was cut entirely, and fans were left confused about her sudden disappearance from the finale. That moment, insiders say, was the breaking point. Rasheeda had always been the calm in the storm, the one who held her composure while others screamed for the spotlight. But this time, she felt humiliated. They took my silence as weakness, she reportedly said in that same meeting. They want me to cry. They want me to break down on camera, but I'm not giving them that satisfaction. One assistant producer tried to calm her, saying, "It's just TV, Rasheeda." She snapped back, "No, it's my life." As fans continued arguing online, former cast members started chiming in. Carly Red went live that afternoon, sipping from a glass of wine and wearing a grin that said she'd been waiting for this day. "I told y'all," she said to her viewers. "I told y'all years ago, there's stuff y'all don't see. Everybody thought I was messy, but I was just telling the truth." Thousands tuned in instantly. When someone in the comments asked if the audio was real, Carly smirked and leaned closer to the camera. "Let's just say, Mona's not as innocent as she looks." She winked before ending the live abruptly. Meanwhile, Candy Burris reposted a meme showing Mona and Rasheeda with the caption, "Friends today, enemies tomorrow." Though she didn't say a word, fans took it as confirmation that something deep and ugly was unfolding behind the scenes of Atlanta's most iconic reality circle. That evening, Rasheeda's boutique press saw reporters waiting outside. Her employees tried to brush past them, but one caught her entering through the back door and shouted, "Rasheeda, are you still working with Mona?" Rasheeda turned briefly, her eyes hard but calm. "Not anymore," she said before disappearing inside. That 5-second clip spread faster than the audio itself. Inside the boutique, her friend and manager Tiffany was pacing the floor. "Girl, this is bad," she said. "VH1's calling now. They want to know if you're planning to sue or if you're just gonna apologize." Rasheeda exhaled, her patience thinning. "Apologize for what?" "For speaking my truth. For finally saying what everybody's scared to." Tiffany hesitated. "I get it, but you know how Mona plays. She blacklists you from every show in the city. She got connections everywhere." Rasheeda shot back, "She doesn't own me. I built my name with or without her. I'm done being quiet for the sake of politics." What no one knew yet was that Rasheeda had been collecting evidence for months: emails, text messages, voice notes from times she'd felt pressured or manipulated during production. She never planned to use them, but the leak had changed everything. It wasn't just about pride anymore. She felt like her entire reputation was being twisted in public. Later that night, Kirk's phone buzzed again. It was an unknown number, but the text was clear: "Tell your wife to stop before she ruins herself." Kirk showed it to Rasheeda silently. She looked at the screen, her face unreadable, and whispered, "They're scared." Kirk frowned. "Or they're serious." Rasheeda turned away. "They should be." Across town, Mona was in a private meeting with her publicist and legal team. She wasn't the kind of woman to crumble under pressure. She wanted to know who leaked the audio, how they got it, and what else might be out there. "Find the source," she said coldly, tapping her manicured fingers on the table, "and find out what else she's holding. If she's gonna play dirty, so will we." Her assistant hesitated. "You mean?" Mona cut her off. "I mean everything. Every unpaid invoice, every behind-the-scenes fight. Bring it all to me." By the next morning, fans woke up to a new headline. Exclusive: Mona Scott prepares legal response to Rasheeda leak. The article quoted a close source claiming Rasheeda had violated multiple non-disclosure agreements. The source said Mona wasn't just angry, she was ready to make an example out of her. The fandom split right down the middle. Some said Mona was being unfair. Others said Rasheeda had brought this on herself. The comments section turned into a war zone. But the real shock came when another piece of audio surfaced, this time from a production assistant's phone. In that clip, A voice believed to be Mona's could be heard saying, "We can't let her control the narrative. She's too likable. If she walks away clean, the whole thing falls apart." That single line changed everything. Suddenly, the story wasn't about Rasheeda's betrayal anymore, it was about Mona's manipulation. And that's when everything exploded. Within hours of that second leak, the love and hip-hop world was in meltdown. The audio of Mona's voice spread across every platform like wildfire. Blogs ran headlines claiming they had the uncut version, and reaction videos flooded YouTube. "We can't let her control the narrative" became the most quoted phrase online. A symbol of what many fans had suspected for years, that Mona didn't just produce drama, she manufactured it. Rasheeda supporters started using the hashtag #StandWithRasheeda, while Mona's loyal defenders fired back with hashtag Team Truth. Every podcast, gossip page, and fan thread was suddenly choosing sides, and it felt like the entire franchise had split in two. Rasheeda, though, stayed silent. That silence was louder than any post she could have made. Inside her house, she sat in her living room surrounded by half-packed boxes. Kirk was on the phone in another room, trying to calm down brand reps who were panicking about potential backlash. Her boutique sales had doubled overnight, but her reputation in the entertainment world was hanging by a thread. "They don't know the half of it," she muttered, scrolling through her mentions. She saw fans defending her, others calling her ungrateful, but one tweet made her pause. It read, "You were never supposed to win without her, and that's why she's mad." Rasheeda stared at it for a long time before whispering, "Exactly." The next day, a former VH1 editor came forward anonymously in a podcast interview. His voice was disguised, but what he said set the internet ablaze. "There were moments when Mona asked us to cut scenes in a way that twisted what people actually said," he revealed. Rasheeda was one of the few who kept calling it out. She hated how her marriage was portrayed. She begged us to show her real growth, her real grind, but Mona said it wasn't entertaining enough. The host gasped, "So you're saying Mona was creating fake storylines?" The editor hesitated. "Not fake, but exaggerated. She pushed people's buttons, then sat back and filmed the explosion." By evening, fans had turned that clip into a viral sound. Even celebrities outside the franchise started weighing in. Cardi B tweeted a cryptic message, "Some PPL bin puppets, some PPL bin players. Know the diff." Erica Mena posted a picture of a snake emoji with the caption, "Somebody finally said it." It was clear that the dominoes were falling, one by one. Mona's team scrambled to contain the chaos. She released an official statement through her publicist denying the allegations and accusing certain individuals of spreading doctored audio. The recent clips circulating online are taken out of context and heavily manipulated. It read, "Mona Scott Young has always championed black women in entertainment, including Rasheeda Frost, but fans weren't buying it. They'd heard her voice, the tone, the intention. The internet had made up its mind." Late that night, Rasheeda decided to break her silence. She went live on Instagram, her face calm but her eyes burning with something between exhaustion and defiance. "I didn't want it to go this far," she began, "but I can't stay quiet anymore." Over 300,000 people tuned in. She spoke slowly, every word deliberate. "For years, I've been loyal to this show, to the people who built it. I've given my time, my energy, my truth. But what y'all saw on TV wasn't the whole story. What you didn't see was the manipulation, the pressure, the way we were pitted against each other for views." The comments section was exploding. Some fans sent hearts. Others accused her of lying for clout, but Rasheeda didn't waver. "I'm not here to destroy anyone," she continued, "but I won't let anyone destroy me either." That audio was real. That pain was real. And the person I called she earned that title. Then, for the first time, Rasheeda smiled a small, tired smile that felt more like closure than victory. The truth always shows up, no matter how long it takes. She ended the live without answering questions. 15 minutes later, Mona's camp hit back with receipts, emails and text messages between Rasheeda and production. They claimed the messages proved Rasheeda knew about certain scenes and approved the edits. One message read, "As long as the store promo stays in, I'm good." Mona's side said that was evidence Rasheeda prioritized business over integrity. Fans were left confused again. Was Rasheeda playing innocent, or was Mona spinning her own narrative? That same night, Kirk got a call from Stevie J, who'd been through his own fallout with Mona years earlier. "Bro, tell your wife to stay strong," Stevie said. "They tried to do me the same way. Once you speak against her, they come for your bag, your name, your peace." Kirk sighed, rubbing his forehead. "It's already too deep, man. She's not backing down." Stevie paused. "Then she better be ready, Because Mona don't lose fights, she buries people. 2 days later, the Love and Hip Hop production office in Atlanta was hit with a massive data breach. Leaked emails, contracts, and behind-the-scenes footage started flooding the web. One particular email exchange caught everyone's attention. In it, a senior producer told Mona, "We need to push the Frost marriage storyline again. The audience still questions his loyalty." Mona replied, "Then find a way to make them question hers too." Those 12 words hit like a bomb. Fans were horrified. It was now undeniable Mona had been actively scripting tension between Kirk and Rasheeda, even when things in real life were calm. Within hours, sponsors began pulling out. Brands that had partnered with the franchise for years quietly deleted posts and backed away from future deals. VH1 went into emergency meetings, terrified of the backlash. Insiders revealed that executives were discussing a possible hiatus for the entire series, until the situation with Mona Scott Young was resolved. Through it all, Rasheeda stayed quiet again. No more lives, no more statements. She went back to her store, her business, her family. But then came the twist no one saw coming. Another clip, this one longer, deeper, and far more personal. It was a continuation of the original recording. In it, Rasheeda's voice cracked as she said, "She made me choose between my marriage and my money, and I chose my peace." Kirk could be heard in the background saying softly, "We'll be fine, baby. We always are." That one line, "I chose my peace," turned into a viral movement. Influencers, fans, and even other reality stars began posting about it, using the phrase as a declaration of self. While Rasheeda's brand seemed to strengthen with every leak, Mona's empire started to crumble. Former assistants and editors began posting anonymously, backing Rasheeda's claims. One wrote, "We were told to create chaos. It was the job. But some of us didn't realize how real the damage would be." Another shared, "Rasheeda was one of the few who ever questioned the process. Most just played along." The more people spoke out, the harder it became for Mona to defend herself. In one desperate attempt to reclaim control, Mona appeared on a morning talk show. She sat upright, perfectly composed, her signature smile unwavering. "People forget that reality TV is entertainment," she said calmly. "We capture real emotions. Yes, but it's still a show. Rasheeda knows that. She's been part of this world long enough." The interviewer leaned forward. "So you deny calling her a backstabber?" Mona chuckled lightly. "I don't need to call anyone names. I let my work speak for itself." But just as the interview aired, another blow landed. A former camera operator went public, confirming that the infamous scene between Rasheeda and Kirk years ago, the one that nearly destroyed their marriage, had been staged under Mona's direction. "They were told to pretend like they were fighting," he said. Mona wanted more emotion, more tears. It was supposed to be a short argument, but she dragged it into something that broke them. Fans were furious. They realized the pain they'd watched unfold on screen was engineered for ratings. The hashtag #JusticeForRasheeda trended for 3 straight days. Her name, once tied to drama and controversy, now symbolized integrity and courage. Mona's silence this time was deafening. Every attempt to shift the narrative failed. Her former allies distanced themselves. And as for Rasheeda, she was no longer just a reality star. She had become the woman who dared to challenge the queen of reality TV and somehow walked away stronger. And just when everyone thought the drama had finally peaked, one final message appeared on Rasheeda's Instagram story. It was a black background, just like Mona's had been days earlier. The text read, "You taught me the game, now watch me rewrite it." That post alone sent shockwaves through the entire industry. Because if there was one thing clear now, it wasn't just revenge. It was evolution. And Rasheeda wasn't done yet. 3 days later, Atlanta woke up to the kind of rumor that could only belong to the Love and Hip Hop universe. Rasheeda was allegedly in talks to launch her own reality series. One that promised real stories, real women, no manipulation. Gossip blogs called it poetic justice. Insiders claimed several former castmates had already reached out to join, including Carly Red, Erica Mena, and even Mimi Faust, all of whom had their own unresolved grievances with Mona Scott. If true, this wasn't just a comeback for Rasheeda, it was a declaration of war. Mona, on the other hand, was unraveling behind closed doors. She'd built her brand on control, on always being one step ahead. Now, every time she opened her phone, another headline dragged her name through the mud. She barely spoke to her team, and those who did hear from her said she sounded colder than ever. "We built this woman up," she told her assistant during one tense meeting. "And she's using everything I taught her to destroy me." Her assistant hesitated before responding. She's not trying to destroy you, Mona, she's trying to be free. That silence that followed said everything. Over at Rasheeda's boutique, business was booming. Lines wrapped around the block. Her fans showed up wearing shirts that read, "I chose my piece." News crews tried to interview her, but she stayed composed, polite, refusing to take public shots at Mona. "I'm focused on moving forward," she told one reporter. "I've said what I needed to say." Kirk stood beside her like a silent bodyguard, occasionally flashing a smile for cameras but keeping his comments minimal. What the cameras didn't capture, though, was the exhaustion behind Rasheeda's eyes. She was winning the public battle, but privately, the weight of it all was beginning to crush her. Late one night, she sat on her back porch, scrolling through her phone as messages poured in from fans and old friends. One caught her attention. It was from Mimi. "You did what we were all too scared to do," the message read. "Thank you." Rasheeda smiled faintly and typed back, "It's not over yet." By morning, Mona had made her move. She filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Rasheeda for breach of contract, defamation, and violation of non-disclosure agreements. It was a calculated strike. The press release hit every major outlet simultaneously. "Mona Scott-Young has suffered irreparable damage to her professional reputation," the statement read. "The false allegations made by Mrs. Frost have caused severe emotional distress and financial loss." Fans were stunned. The woman once celebrated for empowering Black women on television was now suing one of them for speaking out. Rasheeda's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Kirk read the lawsuit out loud, his tone flat but his hands trembling. "This is insane," he muttered. "She's really coming for you." Rasheeda took a deep breath, her voice steady. "Let her, I've got nothing to hide." But her eyes said something else, fear mixed with determination. She knew this wasn't just about reputation anymore. It was about survival. The lawsuit sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. Attorneys, bloggers, and public figures weighed in, debating whether Mona had a case or if this was just a desperate move to silence her former star. One legal analyst told the Shade Room, "If Rasheeda has proof of manipulation or misconduct, Mona's in trouble. This could backfire." And backfire it did. Within 24 hours, an anonymous email was sent to multiple media outlets containing screenshots of private production chats conversations, where producers openly discussed how to trigger emotional breakdowns during filming. One message read, "We need tears from Rasheeda this week. Use Kirk if you have to." The backlash was immediate. Hashtags shifted from hashtag Team Truth to hashtag Boycott Love and Hip Hop. Major sponsors pulled out of upcoming seasons. Even VH1 released a carefully worded statement saying they were reviewing production ethics moving forward. It was the first public acknowledgement that maybe, just maybe, the empire Mona built had gone too far. As Mona's grip on the franchise slipped, Rasheeda received an unexpected call from an executive producer at Netflix. "We've been following everything," he said. "If you're serious about telling your story your way, we'd like to talk." Rasheeda froze, her heart pounding. "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" The voice on the other end chuckled. "Let's just say, the world's ready to hear the truth and edit." The offer was confidential, but somehow the news leaked anyway. By the next morning, hashtag RASHEED, a Netflix show, was trending nationwide. Fans were ecstatic. Mona's camp, meanwhile, was furious. In a now-deleted tweet, one of her producers wrote, "They're trying to steal our formula." Sad. Rasheeda, unbothered, posted a photo of herself in a recording studio with the caption, "No scripts, no puppets, just me." The internet lost its mind. Behind the calm front, though, Rasheeda's nerves were unraveling. She spent sleepless nights replaying everything how it started. The friendships lost, the way her private pain became public property. Kirk tried to comfort her, but even he could feel the tension. "You're doing the right thing," he said one night, his hand on hers. "You're finally free." She looked at him, her voice low. "Freedom, don't come cheap, Kirk, and she's making sure I pay for it." A week later, a surprise bombshell dropped. Leaked court documents revealed that Mona's lawsuit was based on a contract clause that had already expired 2 years earlier. Legal experts confirmed that her claim might not even hold up in court. Fans celebrated like it was a victory parade. "She tried to play the game and lost her own rules," one tweet read. Mona's silence after that was deafening. Still, she wasn't ready to bow out. She arranged a closed-door meeting with a few loyal producers, planning a last-ditch move to reclaim her power. One insider who was there said Mona's tone was icy. "We're not losing everything to one woman's pity party," she said. "If she wants war, we'll give her war." Her assistant asked quietly, "What do you want us to do?" Mona leaned forward. "Find something she doesn't want the world to see." Meanwhile, Rasheeda's Netflix project was quietly taking shape. The working title was Unfiltered: The Truth Behind the Glam. Early teasers promised a raw, emotional look into fame, love, and betrayal without producers pulling strings. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Rasheeda was now doing what Mona had built her career on, but without the manipulation. Former castmates who had once been silent started reaching out, asking to be part of it. One even said, "We want to tell our truth, too." But just when it seemed like Rasheeda was about to win it all, another leak hit the internet. This time, it wasn't an audio file or email, it was a video. Grainy and shaky, it showed Rasheeda in what looked like a private argument at her boutique. She was shouting, her face red with anger, saying, "I made her. Without me, none of them would still be on TV." The clip was only 20 seconds long, but it was enough to send social media spiraling again. Fans were divided all over. "So she's not so innocent after all," one comment read. Another defended her, "That's edited. Clearly a setup." Rasheeda's team insisted the clip was manipulated, likely planted by Mona's camp. But the timing couldn't have been worse. Her Netflix deal was still being finalized, and any controversy could shake the project. For the first time, she hesitated. The woman who'd faced Mona Scott head-on suddenly looked uncertain. Late that night, she called Mimi. "You ever feel like you're fighting a ghost?" she asked softly. Mimi sighed, "Yeah. And the thing about ghosts, they only haunt you if you let them." Rasheeda laughed weakly. "Guess I still got some haunting left." But something shifted in her voice after that call. Maybe it was exhaustion, maybe it was resolve. Either way, when she woke up the next morning, she posted one final message on her page. "The truth don't need defending. It just needs time." Fans flooded her comments with support, waiting for her next move. And deep down, everyone knew this wasn't over. Because in the world of love and hip-hop, nothing ever ends quietly, and Rasheeda Frost wasn't done rewriting the rules yet. The next morning, social media exploded with fresh uploads claiming to have the full audio. Clips were spreading across every major gossip page, showing snippets of Rasheeda's voice getting sharper, more emotional, more raw. One section caught everyone's attention. She said, "Mona thinks she made me, but I was the one who kept this show alive when everyone else walked out." That single line became a meme overnight. Fans split into two camps, those defending Rasheeda for finally speaking her truth, and those dragging her for being ungrateful. As the noise grew louder, Mona's silence made it worse. She didn't tweet. She didn't post. Her last Instagram story, just a black screen with the words "Energy never lies," had millions speculating. By mid-afternoon, Kirk showed up in Rasheeda's live chat with a comment that said, "You need to fix this before it gets ugly." She ignored it. Instead, she doubled down, saying, "People only see what they're shown. They don't know what happens behind the cameras." She said it with such calm that fans knew something deeper was coming. And they were right. A few hours later, a new account dropped another leak, this time, a video showing Rasheeda on a phone call, pacing her kitchen, saying, "Mona promised me my own spin-off. I turned down other projects for her. And now she's sitting in interviews talking about loyalty." The internet went wild. One fan commented, "Rasheeda got receipts," while another wrote, "This is getting ugly fast." Within minutes, hashtags like #TeamRasheeda and #MonaExposed were trending. Meanwhile, Mona's assistant posted a cryptic tweet, "Lies travel fast, but truth doesn't need a plane." People took screenshots before it was deleted. The tension was unbearable. Rasheeda's old castmates started reacting to Erika Mena posted a laughing emoji. Carly Red said, "Karma always comes around," and even Spice went live, saying, "If Rasheeda said it, believe her. She'd been holding back for years." The comment section on that live turned chaotic. Thousands joined, spamming fire emojis asking Spice to spill more, but she refused, saying, "Nah, I value my peace." Behind the scenes, Mona's team was already working damage control. One of her producers texted her, "We can't stay quiet forever. People think the audio is real." Mona finally responded with, "Let them think. Silence is power until it's not." But her expression in a leaked behind-the-scenes photo told a different story. She looked furious, tense, holding her phone tightly, eyes fixed on something just off camera. Insiders claimed she'd started reaching out to certain cast members privately, asking who had leaked the audio. One of them allegedly responded, "Ask your favorite, That one line triggered speculation that someone close to her, maybe even a trusted crew member, had turned against her. Meanwhile, Rasheeda's mood shifted from anger to resolve. She began speaking in metaphors during her Instagram lives, lines like, "You can't call someone ungrateful when all they ever wanted was fairness. And a real boss doesn't silence voices. She uplifts them." Fans interpreted everything like hidden messages aimed directly at Mona. Kirk, who had tried to stay neutral, was now being dragged to. People were accusing him of siding with Mona for business reasons. One commenter wrote, "Kirk too quiet. He probably negotiating with Mona behind Rasheeda's back again." The tension in their marriage, already a public talking point, reignited. The following day, a voice message from an anonymous number reached a gossip blogger who immediately posted it with the caption, "Exclusive, Mona's side of the story." The voice, allegedly Mona, said, "You don't bite the hand that fed you. And when you do, remember it can slap you just as quick." The clip went viral in under an hour. Mona's reputation as a strategist and manipulator resurfaced. People began calling her the puppet master. Some fans believed the drama was all orchestrated for publicity. Others swore it was real because of how emotional Rasheeda seemed. Bloggers were hosting live debates, comparing both sides line by line, dissecting every soundbite. Then came another twist. A former crew member came forward, claiming to have proof that the audio wasn't leaked, it was intentionally released by someone from Rasheeda's camp. He refused to name names but said, the goal was to make Mona look bad before a major announcement. This bombshell changed everything. Speculation turned toward a possible new network deal for Rasheeda. Rumors surfaced that she was secretly in talks with a streaming platform to develop her own reality project, independent from Mona. If true, that meant the entire leak could have been part of a larger plan. Still, fans refused to calm down. Every new clip, every old photo, every interview resurfaced to feed the chaos. Late that night, Mona finally broke her silence with a single tweet. "I wish everyone the best. Some bridges were never meant to be crossed twice." Fans read it as shade. Minutes later, Rasheeda posted on her story, "Some bridges weren't built right the first time. The timing was too perfect." Social media turned it into a quote war. Reaction videos popped up everywhere, narrating the feud like a soap opera. One commentator said, "This is not just about loyalty, it's about legacy." Another added, "If Rasheeda walks away, love and hip-hop might lose its heart." The network itself had to step in. An executive released a statement denying any involvement in the leak and urging fans not to spread misinformation. But by then, it was too late. The audience had chosen sides. In the middle of it all, Kirk's cousin leaked a group text screenshot showing Rasheeda, Kirk, and someone saved as MS. The last message read, "You know this will come back to us, right?" And Rasheeda had replied, "It already has." That small exchange deepened the mystery. Who was MS? Was it Mona Scott? Or someone else entirely? Conspiracy theories flooded TikTok. Some fans claimed it was a producer. Others believed it was a setup to make Rasheeda look disloyal. Still, Rasheeda didn't back down. During an emotional late-night live, her voice cracked as she said, "I gave that woman my respect, my loyalty, and my silence for years. Now I'm giving her honesty." Tears streamed down her face as Kirk quietly entered the frame, trying to comfort her. But when she said, "I'm done protecting people who don't protect me," Kirk's face changed. He looked defeated. Like he knew something the audience didn't. The comments exploded with sympathy and shock. One viewer wrote, "This feels too real to be scripted," while another said, "She's freeing herself on camera." As the live ended, thousands of fans stayed online, refreshing her profile, waiting for her next move. And when her page suddenly went private minutes later, people knew something big was about to unfold. The next 48 hours felt like an earthquake in the reality TV world. Every gossip outlet, from Hollywood Unlocked to Neighborhood Talk, was dissecting Rasheeda's silence. Her Instagram had gone private, her Twitter bio changed to a single word, free. That word alone sent shockwaves through the fandom. Fans began speculating that she'd officially cut ties with Mona and the Love and Hip Hop franchise altogether. Kirk was seen out alone, avoiding cameras, his face tight with frustration. Reporters shouted questions, but he just muttered, "Not today," before rushing into his car. Yet what no one knew was that behind closed doors, Rasheeda was preparing something that would shake the entire cast. A few insiders claimed she had recorded a full video statement to set the record straight, and that it wasn't just about the leaked audio, it was about years of mistreatment and broken promises. One crew member whispered to a blogger, "She's about to name names. She's done protecting everyone." When that rumor hit the internet, Everyone from Erica Mena to Mimi Faust went live trying to claim they already knew the truth. Even Carly Red, who'd tried to stay quiet, posted a single eye emoji with the caption, "Watching the fireworks." Soon, screenshots appeared showing Rasheeda allegedly sending messages to former cast members saying, "I can't keep quiet anymore." Then, the video dropped. It was raw, unedited, filmed in her boutique late at night. Rasheeda sat in a corner with tears in her eyes but her voice steady. She said, "People think I'm mad over money. I'm mad over being lied to. I built something out of loyalty, and they turned it into control." She took a deep breath, then said the line that would echo across the internet, "Mona is a backstabber. She smiles at you, then writes your ending behind your back." The moment hit like lightning. Fans went wild. The comments section flooded with fire emojis and hashtag IST and with RASHEEDA. Within hours, the video had over 2 million views. But Mona wasn't going to sit in silence this time. By morning, she released a statement through a popular entertainment blog, claiming Rasheeda's version of events was one-sided, emotional, and inaccurate. She added that contracts don't lie, people do. It was cold, calculated, and the exact kind of line that turned every conversation into a headline. Fans immediately began dissecting what contracts meant. Some believed Mona was implying Rasheeda had broken confidentiality agreements. Others thought Mona was preparing to sue. Bloggers started digging through old interviews where Mona praised Rasheeda, using them as proof that the two had once been close friends. Now, the betrayal felt even deeper. Then came the ultimate twist. A second leaked clip, this time allegedly from a production meeting, with Mona saying, "If Rasheeda wants to leave, let her. We'll just replace her storyline." That audio spread like wildfire. People couldn't believe how dismissive she sounded. One viral tweet read, "This woman built your show and you're acting like she's disposable." Even cast members who usually stayed quiet began hinting that they'd been mistreated too. Spice tweeted, "This is why I left the table hungry." That single metaphor became a trending phrase across social media. As the feud escalated, Rasheeda's emotions shifted again from anger to exhaustion. She posted on her story, "You can't fight every battle when the war is inside the house." Fans flooded her DMs and comments with messages of support. Celebrities outside the franchise began weighing in too. Tamar Braxton commented, "The industry is colder than ice." While Michelle, who had her own history with Mona, posted, "Welcome to the truth, sis." Their posts only fueled the fire. Mona's defenders accused them of jumping on a trend. Meanwhile, Kirk was losing patience. Sources close to the couple claimed he had confronted Rasheeda about her decision to go public. One insider said, "He told her to stop before things got legal, but she said, 'If truth gets me sued, let's go to court.'" That defiance became the quote of the week. Fans began seeing Rasheeda as a woman reclaiming her voice after years of silence. Old clips of her crying on reunion shows resurfaced, now reframed as signs she'd been holding back for too long. Everything she had once endured, cheating scandals, financial struggles, business setbacks, was being reinterpreted as evidence of resilience. But while the internet was praising her, the network was panicking. Advertisers started pulling back, worried about being associated with the chaos. One executive reportedly told Mona, "We can't afford another scandal this big." Mona, ever the strategist, allegedly replied, "Or maybe this scandal saves us." That statement hinted that she might try to spin the drama into a storyline, making Rasheeda the centerpiece of the next season if she could convince her to stay. But when production reached out to Rasheeda, she didn't respond. Instead, she posted a photo of herself standing in front of a mirror, captioned, "Reflection greater than reaction." Fans took that as confirmation she was moving on. Still, Mona had one last move. She arranged a private meeting with Kirk. Reports claimed she told him, "You and I both know Rasheeda's emotional. Help her calm down before she ruins her brand." Kirk reportedly replied, "She already rebuilt her brand without you." The conversation leaked within hours, sparking another storm online. Fans began calling Kirk finally loyal. Others accused him of playing both sides. Meanwhile, Mona posted a smiling selfie with the caption, "Never let chaos see you sweat." It was perfectly timed, perfectly baited. Every blog reposted it. Every fan dissected it. Rasheeda's supporters, however, weren't backing down. They began compiling a timeline of every promise Mona had allegedly broken, from spin-off deals to unpaid appearance bonuses. One viral thread titled "The Lies of Mona Scott" gained over 100,000 shares in a single day. People began tagging other cast members, urging them to come forward. And slowly, they did. Mimi Faust commented, "Some of us been saying this for years." Even Yandy Smith chimed in, saying, when the cameras stop rolling, so does the love. Those statements carried weight because they came from women who had lived through Mona's editing and production tactics. As more and more voices joined, Mona's image as the untouchable mastermind began to crack. Yet through all of it, she stayed composed, posting polished motivational quotes, while her empire trembled beneath her. Rasheeda, on the other hand, withdrew again. She stopped posting, stopped liking, stopped replying. People began to worry that she'd gone too far emotionally. One close friend told a journalist, "This broke her spirit. She thought telling the truth would free her, but it just made her feel watched." Then, as if timed to perfection, another anonymous email landed in the inbox of a major entertainment blog. Attached was a short video clip from a recent production wrap party. It showed Mona raising a glass, saying, "Cheers to knowing who's replaceable." The crowd laughed, unaware they were being recorded. When that clip hit the internet, it was game over. Fans turned furious. Petitions began circulating, demanding Mona step down from her position as executive producer. The network released another statement, claiming the footage was taken out of context, but no one believed it. Within hours, Mona's name became synonymous with betrayal. Yet behind the smoke and noise, rumors whispered that she had one more secret hand. It involved a private investigator, a secret phone, and proof that the real betrayal hadn't come from Rasheeda at all. But that revelation was still waiting in the shadows, about to turn everything upside down again. So, here we are after days of chaos, countless leaks, deleted posts, and endless speculation. Fans are still left asking the same question. What really happened between Rasheeda and Mona Scott? Was this all an elaborate setup for publicity, or did years of hidden resentment finally boil over in a moment that couldn't be contained any longer? Either way, what we just witnessed wasn't just drama, it was a reckoning. We saw a woman who built her name on loyalty finally decide that silence wasn't strength anymore. We saw an empire tremble because one voice chose to tell its version of the truth. And no matter which side you're on, one thing is clear: the love and hip-hop world will never be the same again. Fans everywhere are debating whether Rasheeda's emotional confessions were the sound of liberation or the start of her downfall. Some say she was brave enough to break the code that kept so many cast members quiet. Others argue she went too far by naming Mona directly, turning private pain into public scandal. But in the end, it's impossible to ignore how raw, how human, and how real her emotions felt when she sat on that live, trembling but refusing to back down. It wasn't about contracts or shows anymore, it was about dignity. And in a world that often trades loyalty for ratings, that makes her stand something unforgettable. Meanwhile, Mona Scott remains a mystery. She's the mastermind behind countless storylines, the woman who turned real-life chaos into television gold. She knows how to spin a story better than anyone. And yet, for once, it feels like she's lost control of the narrative. Maybe she's holding her silence for strategy. Maybe she's waiting for the perfect moment to respond. Or maybe, just maybe, she's finally realizing that the power she built on other people's stories can just as easily crumble under her own. Time will tell whether she returns with vengeance or grace, but either way, the world is watching. And let's not forget Kirk, caught in the middle of it all. Some see him as the quiet voice of reason, others as the man who knows more than he's saying. His loyalty has always been tested, first in his marriage, now in business. If the rumors about his private meeting with Mona are true, he might be holding the key to the truth behind the final leak. But until someone speaks up, everything remains wrapped in whispers, secrets, and speculation. Fans are now demanding answers. They want to know who leaked that audio, who recorded the rap party toast, and who's really pulling the strings behind this supposed betrayal. Because what if the real Backstabber isn't who we think it is? What if the game everyone's been playing was scripted long before the cameras started rolling? And what if Rasheeda's outburst wasn't a mistake but part of a bigger plan to expose something deeper inside the production machine? That's the kind of question that keeps people glued to their screens, waiting for the next update, the next twist, the next emotional confession. The truth is, this story may not end anytime soon, even if Mona and Rasheeda never reconcile. This moment has already changed the conversation around reality TV, loyalty, and the cost of fame. It's no longer about who's right or wrong. It's about what happens when the people behind the scenes step out of the shadows and start telling their own stories. And maybe that's what makes this so powerful. We're witnessing the curtain being pulled back on a world that was never meant to be this transparent. So now the question goes to you, the viewers, the people who've been watching every clip, dissecting every word, and keeping this story alive. Whose side are you on? Do you believe Rasheeda was betrayed? Or do you think Mona was protecting her brand from someone who broke the rules? Do you think the leaks were accidental? Or were they part of a bigger, carefully orchestrated move? Your opinions, your comments, and your reactions are shaping how this story is remembered. If you've made it this far, you already know this isn't just gossip, it's a turning point. It's about power, truth, and the price people pay for being authentic in a world built on image. And the best part, it's still unfolding. Because every time one side goes silent, another voice emerges, another clip leaks, another revelation drops. And that's why you need to stay here. Because this channel doesn't just report drama, we break it down, piece by piece, with the depth and insight others are too afraid to touch. So before you scroll away, take a second and think about what you just witnessed. Think about how quickly admiration can turn into betrayal, and how the people we think are untouchable can suddenly find themselves exposed. Think about Rasheeda's courage to speak out, Mona's calm defiance, and the way fans like you became part of the story, just by reacting, commenting, and sharing. This isn't just entertainment, it's history in motion, and you were here to see it happen. Now, if you want the next part of this story, the real reason why that final video leak might not have come from Rasheeda's camp at all, make sure you hit that like button right now. Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell us where you stand. Are you Team Rasheeda or Team Mona? And what do you think Mona's next move will be? Revenge, silence, or redemption? We'll be watching closely, because something tells us this story isn't over yet. Not by a long shot. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what happens next, because we've got exclusive updates, unseen footage, and inside details coming that will make everything you thought you knew flip upside down. Hit that bell icon so you're the first to know when the truth finally comes out. And until then, keep your eyes open, your mind sharp, and your tea hot, because in this world, every smile hides a secret. And every secret is just one leak away from changing everything.